Boom! Surprise house building video. Hey everybody, Brados here, and welcome back to yet another Sims 3 speed build. This build is a little bit different, simply because, well, mainly because it's on a different day, but I had this idea, and I didn't really want it to go stale, like a biscuit. Sort of like a bit. Oh, I hate stale biscuits. They're so disgusting. They don't crunch properly. Anyway, the point is, I didn't want this idea to go away, and also it wouldn't take me a whole lot of time because this is actually a starter home. That's right. Which means it costs under 16,500 simoleons. I actually think it came in under 16,000 simoleons, 15,900 or something like that. But it's very cheap. So if your sim has just been made, they're a blank canvas, they only have the money in their account, and they need somewhere to live, this is most likely the place for them. I mean, honestly, when I think of starter homes, I sort of consider anything under sort of 20,000 simoleons to be a starter home. But that's all well and good if you have like a sim family, but if you have only the one sim, they can spend only up to 16,500 simoleons. And just bear in mind, if you're going to download this house, and there will be a link in the description below, this house can really only provide for a single sim, but it does so in relative luxury considering the price. It's a very nice looking house. It's very cool. You'll notice that it sits up on, well, there's 3 columns there now. There we go, got rid of them. But it sits up on one sort of column, and like literally, I don't know how that would work in real life. I dare say you'd need some pretty heavy duty engineering, structural stuff and things to make that work, but I'm sure it's possible in today's world. I mean, if we can build the Burj Khalifa that's 860 something meters tall, and now the Saudi Arabians are building a building that is building a building that is over 1 kilometer tall, I think we can get a little house to stand on one leg. So, you know, anyway, this is Sims, and we don't really have to worry about that. But this house is basically one room. It's all open plan, which is lucky because other than that, it is quite small. You notice here that I'm using the pool wall, and that might seem weird at first, but it's actually the cheapest wall in the game that you can sort of customize and change. And I didn't really use a lot of nice furniture. There's basically everything in the house was changed using Creator Style, which in this case is a very, very useful tool because the but the cheap furniture is not the nicest furniture in the world, and Creator Style helps it be less yucky and disgusting, and that's always good. But you can see here I'm just sort of changing the walls and stuff, and that I did place I wanted to put another level on top, but I'd reached the maximum level, so I couldn't really do that. But you know, it's okay. It ended up just being all the one color. You'll see that I have a little part there on the right which is a different wood, but it all ends up being the one color just because it ended up being cheaper. I was on a budget, and you know, that was my main focus when making this house. It needed to be cheap. It needed to be a starter home. But this house, while it is small and relatively inspiring, I suppose, the view that you get is awesome. This is in a lunar island once again. Technically this is a cliff lot, even though it's not really on the cliff, it just sits there, but it is a cliff lot. And yeah, it's a very nice house, and the views you get are incredible. It's sort of like nice and warm and tropical. Not like my place right now, because it is actually winter here in Australia, and it's freaking cold, basically, and I don't really like it. I'm not acclimatized to the cold at all, so I'm not really loving it right now. Well, not exactly not loving it, but I guess it's... I do like the cold, it's just like too cold. There is such a thing as too cold, but I guess it's not really like that right now. And I guess it's nothing that a pair of trackies and a jumper can't fix. And FYI, when I say jumper, I don't mean like the American version of jumper, which is like a skirt or something, I think. I don't know if they were just screwing with me, but that's what somebody told me when I went to Hawaii. They said, no, don't say I'm going to go get my jumper. They'll think you're going to put on a skirt and that you're a transvestite. So, you know, I should just say jacket. A pair of trackies and a jacket can't fix. So, yeah, just... That's what I'm talking about. I don't wear skirts. I'm not a cross-dresser. Just pointing that out. Just want to make that clear. Set some ground rules. We good? Okay, cool. Anyway, yeah, so the front of the house is what we're working on now. This is the sort of landscaping portion of the video. Well, not really. There's part of it that's landscaping, and then there's landscaping in other parts as well. But I did actually have some trouble getting the stairs, or getting the actual house to join with the actual land so you can get onto the house. It would join down there, but it wouldn't join where I wanted it to. But eventually I sort of just mucked around with it a bit and got it to work in the end. It did take a bit of sort of fiddling and a bit of, you know, rage, spontaneous rage. But I did get it in the end. You can see here, CFE was playing havoc with my house. If you're not careful what you do with the house, it can actually really screw you over. So if you have CFE on and you raise the terrain below your house, it will raise the floor of the house as well, and it ends up looking pretty ridiculous. But that's okay. It's not really that bad. There's nothing that you can't fix, but it is annoying. Just beware when using CFE. It can turn your house into some sort of deformed monster, like Monster House. The movie still scares the crap out of me. Anyway, just sort of messing around with CFE again. I mean, it's difficult to use, but well, not supposedly difficult, but it's just sort of finicky. And I eventually turned it off there with all capital letters for some reason. I'm not sure why I did that. I guess caps lock still on. Whoops, I didn't even realize that. Back to this pool fencing on the inside of the house, because it is quite cheap. It's $3 a piece, I think, or 3 simoleons a police. Jesus. 3 simoleons a piece is what I was trying to say, which is about the cheapest in the game, I think, and it's also fully customizable, which is fun. Moving into the kitchen now. It's a very small kitchen. It's just some counters, a sink, and a fridge, which is all you need, basically. There's the fridge there. You got some nice red counters and a nice dark fridge, which looks pretty spiffy, and then a nice little sink in there. Up to the other end of the house, like I said, I think I said, this house is all open plan, and I was going to try and make a separate room for the actual bathroom and toilet and everything, but there was just no room. It just would not have worked, so I decided against that, and it ended up just being sort of a half-wall section to close off the toilet, and then just a shower, and then the bed's near that, and then there's, well, everything's open plan, basically, so that's just how it works. Doing a bit of create a style is what I was going to say create a pattern, but that's not it. Create a style, and then throwing in a nice toilet there. This game isn't base game. Oh, this house. Jeez, I can't talk. This house is not actually base game. It's almost base game. It's very nearly base game. I think the toilet is from Late Night. I think those windows there are from University, and I think the counters in the kitchen are from Ambitions, and the wardrobe that I use, I think, may be from Showtime, I think. But yeah. Most of the furniture that I use is quite ugly until I hit it with Creator Style. You'll see the bed here. I just grab the patterns from another bed, which is an Island Paradise bed, and I absolutely love, and then just throw it onto that bed, and it makes it look quite nice. There's the wardrobe I was talking about. Yes, it is from Showtime. But it's quite cheap and it looked modern, so I used it. Like I said, the entire area is completely open plan. Here's your little living area here. This ends up being a sitting area, not a living area, dining area. It ends up being a dining area for one. I try to place it out on the balcony, but there ends up being enough room inside. So I just decided to place it back in there, which is all good. Then I throw in this nice lounge here, some love seat as they call it in the game. I'm not sure if anybody actually calls it that. I certainly don't, but that's just me. And then we throw in a television. It's kind of a crappy television, but you know, it's still a television and you can watch shows on it, which is, I guess, the purpose of a television. Moving the table back inside and then throwing some extra stuff in, moving the wardrobe and everything up, and then I place some paintings around the spot. Hitting the paintings with a bit of Creator Style just to sort of dress them up a bit, and then in a moment I believe we head on outside just after I change around this painting. I think that's some custom content actually. I inadvertently used that, but that's my bad. Moving outside now, doing a bit of terrain painting in a moment after we fix up the actual terrain itself. Here's the terrain painting now. It is actually free, so you don't have to worry about blowing the budget on terrain paints. So, you know, don't have to worry about that. Just change the color of the letterbox and the garbage bin, and then I place in a couple of different rocks and shrubs and bushes and things around the place. I do actually change these because when I went to playtest the house, with a starter household. It actually came in at like 16,585, so I had to get rid of some of the bushes, and then I just replaced them, and then dressed up the base of the column with some rocks and stuff with the money I had left over. Moving inside, just placing some lights, hitting them with create a pattern so they're not blue, because blue doesn't really fit in with theme, and then we move into the screenshots. So here we have a shot of the front of the house. That's what I was talking about, dressing up the base of the column there, just with some rocks and ferns and stuff, dressing it up a little bit, making it look all pretty. Shot from the front of the house. That's what you see when you roll up to your house, probably not in a car this early in the game. Here's the view from the front of the house. Obviously nice views all around. The inside of the house, like I said, all open plan, and very affordable, but still quite nice. So there's not many screenshots for this, just another shot of the kitchen here. You can see a bit of the view that you get from this house, and it is absolutely exquisite. But that just about wraps it up for this build. Obviously it is called Square One, and I hope you have enjoyed it. So until the next video, guys, stay safe, stay human, and of course, stay awesome.